Up next, Jamie Lowell was part of the first cannabis dispensing operation in the state. He helped form the first Cannabis Industry Association in Michigan and was the author of the MRTMA, which is the law that legalized cannabis in the state. Currently, he is the vice chair of the Michigan Americans for Safe Access chapter, which is, by the way, a fantastic website. If you haven't checked out safeaccessnow.org, you should. And he's also a member of the Michigan Cannabis Freedom Coalition, and he's on the board of the Great Lakes Expungement Network and serves as director of advocacy and social equity for a licensed retailer, the Botanical Company. Please welcome Jamie Lowell.
All right, thank you, Q. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks to the great presenters, and definitely thank you to those who created this important and historic event. And I think we can confirm that the inaugural Entheofest is a success. And there really is no better place than here and no better place than now for this. I've been asked to kind of reflect on the relationship between cannabis reform efforts and how it may have helped pave the way for this Entheo movement. And the story of Ann Arbor is exemplary in this. So I'm going to do a little overview, some historical stuff, and where we are now with everything to help illustrate this point. I can't possibly put all the information in here, but hopefully, you know, enough to get across what I'm referring to here. So we start off with where we are right here. Over 50 years ago, this is the place where John Sinclair assembled a rally in response to new prohibitive cannabis laws coming into place. And actually, I spoke with him yesterday, and he said to let everybody know that he's very much in support of this. And then at that time, even though the rally was for cannabis, that mushrooms were very much a part of the culture and the discussion. And he sends his appreciation for this. Of course, in the 70s also, the $5 civil infraction law came into being. Chuck Ream, who's here today, was a big part of that. That turned into $25 in the 90s, along with Ann Arbor becoming a reproductive freedom zone out of fear that the Supreme Court would turn over Roe versus Wade. In 2004, medical marijuana passed locally here by 74% of the vote. Again, Chuck Ream having a big part to do with that. And then after the passage of the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act, the city allowed dispensaries to be here before there was any kind of statewide direction. Of course, in Washtenaw County, that first happened in Ypsilanti with Third Coast Compassion. And my friend and former partner, Daryl Stavros, is here, and he was a very big part of that. And then when statewide policy came into being, Ann Arbor opted in and has issued out many licenses. So sometime before the last election, a very awesome group of activists, very much the same group that helped to create this event today, had a discussion with the city council, and that ultimately resulted in the city council voting unanimously to make entheogenic plants the lowest level enforcement priority, or decriminalize it. After those elections, the composition changed a little bit. One of those members no longer on anymore, Ann Bannister, decided to continue to work and support this group, and she's going to be giving a presentation later on today. And the current composition of the City Council has deemed September Entheogenic Plant and Fungi Awareness Month. So, the last elections also brought us a new prosecutor, Ellie Savitt. You heard from him. He was joined by Victoria Burton Harris, and in my mind, creating kind of a super team here. And you heard what their stance is on prosecuting people for entheogenic plants. And hopefully they can be an example for other county prosecutor offices, and hopefully some of what they're doing can rub off on our Attorney General, too. So we have the State House Representative, Yusuf Rabi, who we've already heard from. He's been a longtime friend of this movement and just being sensible in general with policies. And he is poised to introduce a bill that is very important and that many of us in this community are very appreciative of. So we've legalized medical cannabis in Michigan. We've legalized cannabis for all adult use in Michigan. Yet on our state's controlled substances list, cannabis still sits there as a Schedule I drug. And it continues to cause a lot of problems for people. People are still getting charged felonies for small-time cannabis activity. People are still having big problems with child protective services and having their children taken away. People are not getting their licenses reissued from the Secretary of State over it. So that needs to come off. And gratefully, Representative Yusuf Rabi is going to introduce a bill to take cannabis off of the state's controlled substances list. And we very much appreciate that. And I don't want to get into this too much, but if you're from Michigan here and you're going to go tell your representatives to vote no on the big money interest bill, House Bill 5301, while you're doing that, ask them if they would support Rep. Rabi's bill to take cannabis off the controlled substances list. And of course, we have Senator Irwin. Really can't say enough about him. He's established himself as a longtime friend of this community also. In between being a state House rep and state senator, in part he served as a political director for the legalization movement. He's already introduced pro-cannabis legislation in this session. And then obviously Senate Bill 631, which would itself, that it was introduced is a bit of a milestone, by the way, but it's got bipartisan support, and if it passes, of course, that moves everything forward statewide in a very significant way. There's no better place in here, there's no better time than now on this issue. I just want to make it clear that we're all in this together. We're gonna continue to see successes. No matter the challenge, we'll take it on, we'll be successful. That's all I got. Happy Entheofest, everybody. Have a great rest of the day.
Jamie Lowell, everyone.